Welcome back. Small home-based businesses was just one of several positive trends that emerged during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. But as small as those entrepreneurial ventures taken on by Bahamians were, the revenues generated must be filed, said Keith Worrell, Director of Tax Policy and Legal Affairs at the Department of Inland Revenue. Worrell explained that value-added tax is primarily a consumer tax, but it must be paid by all business owners.
Those persons now going into year 2 would have to declare their turnover. And in as much as it might have been a home-based business, it could have been a particularly successful business. They again have to ensure that their declarations are accurate. So I want to stress that because the purpose is not really to be punitive. The purpose is to ensure that persons are adhering to the law as it's established, and to ensure that the declarations that they're doing are accurate declarations.
As more persons opt to work from home, there were businesses that placed employees on furlough. Worrell said a tax referral program was offered to those business houses that remained in operation.
Major drawbacks, for example, in turnover. And having to bear those expenses, it was felt by the policymakers that what we could have done was to give them some relief in that regard. What they did then was to authorize the introduction of what we call the tax credit tax deferral program. And what that program basically did was to allow VAT registrants to defer their VAT liability. In doing so, what they did was to basically say that if you had employed or continued to employ in excess of 80% of your workforce that existed at the beginning of the pandemic, then you would have qualified for relief with regard to the payroll that you incurred in that regard. But that relief was limited to, on the average, $200 per person. Now, it might not sound like a lot of money, but if you are taking entities that have significant numbers of employees, of course it adds up.